And away we go. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us today. I'm Sean Stires, joined by Vince DeDario. You kind of snuck up on me a little bit, Vince. I didn't realize how late it was. And then I looked at the, my commercial stack over here to my right, and I'm like, it's 5 after. That means it's time to blast this sucker off. So here we are.
Me showing up right on time.
That is you skating
right on time. Yeah. You've even stopped texting me at this point. Like, where are you? And I will say this. It didn't make me get in here any earlier. I'm not going to say that, but sitting in your chair on days where it's just me and Jesse does the same thing that I do, and he slides in at the last second. Mm-hmm. I was getting pretty nervous.
Especially if he knows it's you. I think it's like, yeah,
exactly. I was
like, I don't have to be there early.
Is he going to come? Is he going to show up? Like, am I got to do this solo? Like, what do we do? So yeah.
I'm sure Tyler is sitting here when he's producing on those days going, are these guys ever going to be here? There's a show in 2 minutes.
I'm earlier when I'm in your boat, but not much. I mean, let's be honest. But I am earlier just because I'm like nervous and get that nervous energy going.
Yep. I hear you for sure. And Vince is very festive today. He said it was Hawaiian Day at school, so we wore his Hawaiian shirt.
Yep. It was Hawaiian shirt day. It's one of the things I can participate in and fit, not look completely foolish. So I'm here.
It's Mailbag Day on the show. So get your questions in if you're watching live in the YouTube chat. That's where you can submit them, whether it's the Irish Breakdown YouTube channel or the Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel. And subscribe. If I can get my words out today, subscribe to that Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel, if you would. Before we get into some of these mailbag questions, Vince, have you followed any of the, I know you're a big Olympics guy. Have you followed have you heard the story of this Norwegian skier who cheated on his girlfriend?
I saw a little something about that this afternoon. And he was talking about it in his press conference for some reason.
He wins a bronze medal. Yeah. And he just launches into his regret for cheating on her. So apparently he meets her 6 months ago.
Okay.
3 months into the relationship, he cheats on her. And then right before the Olympics, like a week ago, he had been filled with regret, and he told her that he cheated on her. I think this is the timeline, if I've got it right.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the Olympics, wins a bronze, and he uses the opportunity I just won an Olympic medal. I feel so bad about cheating on my girlfriend. I really want her back. So,
I really don't know that was the proper venue because now you've outed not only yourself, which is one thing, but now you've outed your girlfriend. Like, I don't see that playing well.
And she's already responded to it, and it hasn't played well. She wants nothing to do with him. She's like, upset that I don't know if he used her name, but
but people
I don't think it takes too much once you figure out who he is and who he was with, and she wants nothing to do with him. Like, she's even more upset now because he told the world that he cheated on her and he wants her back.
That is, and let's be honest, he cheated on her and she didn't know for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
That's just doesn't put anybody in a good light. And we're talking about a 6-month relationship. We're going to go ahead and throw that one away and move on to another one. I'm on team girlfriend at this point. Dude, that wasn't the way to go about it.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. Did you see Jake Paul's lady friend? I think she's also from Norway. Won the speed skating the other day.
I'll just say yes.
Is that how you say her name?
I don't care.
Man.
She's an athletic being.
She is.
And very talented.
Like fitness model. Man. Like Jake Paul, I think a lot of people would, argue about just how gifted physically he is. Fair. But he's doing something right. He's doing something
listen, because there was stuff going around about her for a while now. I've seen, kind of clips of her and everything else. Had no idea that she was with Jake Paul until I
didn't
saw him
either.
crying in the stands.
She's one of those people who kind of like the Olympics roll around. She's been around for at least another Olympic.
Okay.
Cycle. So
that makes sense then. But like Jake Paul's up there crying with her parents and everything. Like,
I know.
That's another level.
He was very emotional.
Yes, he is. I should say. Yeah.
All right, let's get to some of these mailbag questions. Let's talk a little Notre Dame football.
Oh, I love it.
Any other Olympic stuff come up of note that you've seen?
Yesterday was the most prolific Winter Olympic day for America ever. They won the most medals in different sports. It was 5 different sports they won medals in yesterday.
Didn't realize that.
Kind of a fun fact. Yeah. Kind of because
I watched the Quad God before I went to sleep last night.
He's really good.
He's good.
Yeah. And then you had like mixed doubles curling. They won a silver.
See, I thought he was called the Quad God because he had like massive, strong quads.
Right. Quadriceps. Which I'm sure he does.
But it turns out he's the Quad God because he can do this quad spin thing, whatever you call it.
4 rotations. Yeah, 4 rotations. And there's like many different jumps that you can do, and I don't know.
Like when I heard quad quad, I'm thinking Herschel Walker, to be quite honest.
Yes.
Not stick figure skater who's really good and has a chance to, win a gold.
He's doing like backflips and all kinds of stuff. Like it's impressive. He's like gonna lap the field. Like he's so good.
Looks like a lion when he's out there with all that blonde hair flowing around his mane.
He's talented, man. He is absolutely talented. I give a lot of credit to the other American male figure skater who's out there, and his parents just died in that plane crash and everything. And
I hadn't heard about that. That's too bad.
Well, it was about, I want to say it was 6 months ago, maybe. It was a plane crash that left like a big ice skating tournament or, whatever. Oh, wow. And so there's tons of ice skating community people, and his parents were coaches. They were on that plane. And so they passed away. And now he's competing in the Olympics, and they were former Olympians. And so it's a whole story,
All right. But I'm sure it is. I just hadn't heard it yet. I haven't watched enough of the prime time to see all the heart rendering, backstories and all that.
Right. No, totally get that. But the Olympics are great. Okay, let me just bring this one up. United States women hockey team destroyed Canada yesterday.
I heard about that.
5-0.
Yeah.
Woo!
Big right.
I don't know what's going on with the Fighting Father Davids up there, but man, woo! That's a victory right there for the Americans. Good
big
job.
Time beatdown.
That was. Right. That's their biggest rival, So that's I'm sure they'll face each other again in the medal round. So hopefully they can do a repeat performance. But that was
USA.
Cool. That was awesome.
Have you seen the Netflix on the 1980 Miracle on Ice doc?
I watched it. What was it? I think it was over the weekend. I watched it. So I wasn't like first to the line, but I did finally get a chance to watch it. It was really good. It was really good. I very much appreciated them putting like the now picture with what they used to look like and their names underneath.
Yeah, and like
that was helpful.
When they started that thing, there were like so many. I felt like you should be putting more names on the screen because they were just people would start talking and it's like, who is this guy? Like
more. I need more identification. Well, and the problem is for people like my age and younger. I was born in 1980, right? And I was born in the last 3 days of 1980, so I wasn't around for the Olympics. And I had, I know about it. Obviously, I didn't live through it. My recollection is the movie, and so as I'm watching the documentary, and they're showing these guys in real life what they looked like back then, I was like, man, the movie did a pretty good job of finding people that looked
like it too,
a lot like what they actually looked like. I was impressed by that.
And you remember, like the whole where they were doing the Herbies over in whatever Norway or whatever that was. There was some dispute for a while whether or not that really happened.
I heard that was movie created. That's what I had heard about.
I had heard that as well, but I was doing some research, a few years back when I was still doing the sports movie podcast, and they said, that did really. Now they might have like fabricated some of the extent, and things that were said and that kind of stuff, but it really happened, and obviously they documented that in the documentary.
Yeah, and it was pretty much exactly like what was in the movie. They're like, the guy wanted to close, he turned off the lights. I don't really think they embellished at all.
They want to shut down the arena. They're turning off the lights. I don't care.
Yeah, again.
Another one. again.
I mean, we could go obviously very long on this, but I do feel like the movie captured very much of what actually happened. You know what I mean? The fact that Herb didn't want to be friends with them, and he wanted them all to hate him because they didn't want to hate each other. Like that was a very major point of the movie, and it was a major point of the documentary as well. So
for sure,
I was impressed.
Yeah, and a lot of the regrets that the players have now is that they, didn't get to be closer to him, because he died actually right before the Miracle movie came out 20-some years ago.
I think he saw some of the filming. I think he was on set.
Yeah, he was around while they were working on it. I remember that, but he died right before it actually came out. But it was very cool. It was fun just to see like the smiles on their faces as they were rewatching a lot of the games and stuff like that. And that's like what they said. One of the moms of the players began the USA chant. And
I didn't know that.
That
was cool.
is, and I've said this before and I didn't realize it, but they were saying in the doc that like most of them didn't remember like ever hearing that chant prior to that in 1980. And that's always been my memory of it, because I think I was like 12 when that happened. And, I remember watching all that on TV, and that was the first time I ever remembered hearing that USA chant like that. And you just got swept up in it. It was so cool.
I was also, look, 1980 wasn't exactly 1930, right? But I was very impressed that they had all this footage, and it was a lot of remastered, really good footage of like practice and, these games and like all of these. I didn't realize all that footage was out there, to be perfectly honest with you, because, they weren't televising things live and, all of that kind of stuff. And it's not like it is today, but I was really impressed with the footage that they had in this documentary, and seeing these guys run around, and, it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yep. I'm glad you watched it, because I'm doubting my son has. So I've been meaning to ask him.
It's one of my favorite movies, to be perfectly honest with you. And obviously I know how big it was at the time and all of that. I just didn't live through it. So I was very interested in the doc.
Very enjoyable. But I've always Miracle, I think, is one of the best sports movies.
It is.
I know people would probably quibble.
I'm there.
I think
I'm there, and I'm not even a hockey fan.
They dramatize some stuff, but it's Hollywood. Like we've always said, movies are not documentaries, and they're going to embellish, and they're going to kind of shine some things up to make it a little bit more Hollywood. But again, like when you listen to the guys in the documentary, most of the things that they depicted in that movie actually happened. They might have, they might have embellished a little bit to Hollywoodize it, but
I mean, they even had Craig looking for his dad in the stands after the game.
That's right.
All that stuff actually, like, that feels dramatized, but he's like, no. And then they showed him on they showed him look like, I don't know. It was just, it reinforced really how good of a movie it was, to be perfectly honest with you, for me, as I was watching the documentary. So yeah.
All right, we better get to some of these mailbags.
All right.
Here, we've got a mailbag full of stuff. Let's talk a little Notre Dame football. Salty wants to know, which format for the Blue Gold game do you prefer? Full scrimmage or a modified scrimmage and 7-on-7 activities, as was the case last year?
I understand why they did what they did last year. The 7-on-7 was to make sure that everybody got in and all of those different things. And a lot of times in the spring, you're limited on offensive linemen. And so I get it. I understand it. It's just not something I want to watch. And 7-on-7 is great in practice. And this is what it is. It's a glorified practice that we all get to go watch, obviously. I would prefer the full scrimmage. That's what I would prefer, because it's more like real football. I want the 7-on-7 and the stuff like that when I go watch practice. Like that, I don't know. It's just a different feel when you're in the stadium and the fans.
It wasn't the 7-on-7. Wasn't that more about like the young guys, just to get them like the third and fourth string type guys?
That's exactly what it was.
Get them some snaps and those kind of things. Yeah. So I think we'd all like the full scrimmage. It is to the point where, like, if you're going to start drifting too much into that stuff, what's the point of even doing it in public? Because you're holding your jersey scrimmage behind closed doors and all that kind of stuff. And, that's like the meat and potatoes type scrimmage. That's the real stuff anyway. And, I mean, tattoo, It's a fair point. I'm not paying $7.99 for Peacock to watch 7-on-7. I don't blame you.
Seriously.
I wouldn't either.
Just get Xfinity internet and you get your Peacock for free.
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from, dude. Like I totally get it.
And then the follow-up is, should Notre Dame continue to have the blue gold game or eliminate it, as a number of schools have done?
They should 100% continue to have it. And for me, it is because of access. Like the blue and gold game is an excellent opportunity for people that do not have an opportunity to come to a game normally, and mostly local fans, obviously. But they've priced local fans out of the market, in my opinion. Like, it's not like it used to be. And I don't want to sound like the old man. It's not like it used to be back in the day. But it's
Why
a great.
Should today be any different than any other day?
I knew that was coming. But it is an opportunity for a family to go see Notre Dame football players in the stadium, without breaking the bank. And yeah. I do think that's a good opportunity to have.
Good time, good casual time. Go hang out, just kind of see what the team looks like, and that kind of stuff. Absolutely. And the fact that so many of these schools, and it obviously has to do with the transfer portal, and guys are worried about losing their third string, right guard and whatever else. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you really think that you're going to lose something because a guy got a couple snaps in a spring game and all of a sudden that's going to cause him to hit the portal? And
there's no more spring portal. So
that's what I was getting ready to say. Now there's no more spring portal. So you're pretty much locked up until the next year anyway.
You having a GA watch everybody's spring games, and so that when December rolls around, then you can call those guys up. Yeah, like that's a little conspiracy theory for me. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that that's actually taking place. I just don't.
Sean Kelly wants to know, scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you that Chris Ash tries to revert to what we saw in the first 3 weeks of last season?
I'm not worried about it because of the success that they had the final 9 games of the season. How could anybody, don't put things past people, I get that, but like, how could anybody like take a step back, look at the season and be like, okay, we got 9 games. This is what happened, and we've got 2.5 to 3 games, and where this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Yeah,
like that just doesn't make sense.
Sooner or later, it's got to work,
right. So scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 1. Like, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I feel like they moved past that, and maybe it had to be kind of pounded into him a little bit that it just wasn't working, and it was time to turn the page and go back to what worked. But I don't. Like, who in your right mind would want to go back to that after the success that you had last year? Because let's be honest, the stakes are a lot higher, and everybody knows it from day one in the 2026 season. It is a very championship or bust mentality that they have, and like, leave no doubt. If that's the mantra, and we've heard it multiple times already from Marcus Freeman, if leave no doubt is the thing, then you can't revert to things that didn't work if you really want to leave no doubt, because they've got to, I'm not going to say they've got to win out, but I think their mentality is they've got to win out.
Yeah.
They don't want to leave any doubt in anybody's mind.
I agree. I completely agree with that.
And I think the head coach will reinforce a lot of that stuff. This one's from the Champions Lounge at Irish Breakdown. Domer Grizz. I saw this today, and I'm having a hard time with this. Your wackiest sports-related story. There was a board post about the Super Bowl trophy being left on a plane, like back around Super Bowl II or Super Bowl III.
Oh, wow.
It says, it got me thinking you all have to have seen some crazy stuff in your time. I'm having a really hard time with this.
I mean, I guess it depends on like your definition of wacky. Like, going and watching the flag football game at the College Football Hall of Fame that you would call outside, like, that was a little wacky. You know what I mean? These older guys just kind of getting after it. I don't know if that qualifies as wacky or not.
The wackiest thing that I could think of, and I won't name any names.
Okay.
Back when I was doing Notre Dame baseball on the radio, and they were in their run of winning Big East tournaments every year, we weren't chartering or anything like that. And so this was out in New Jersey.
Okay, Rutgers.
And so Big East tournament, they win the Big East tournament. And so we had to stay overnight and like fly out of Newark the next morning. Again, I'm not naming names, but there were a couple basically they won the conference championship. And as long as they were in their rooms, Maneri didn't care what they were doing. And
these are college kids, by the way.
There were some dudes who were literally up all night, and there were some beverages flowing, and there were some ladies, who were hanging around as well. It was an all-night party.
Some fangirls. I like that.
Yeah. I wasn't involved in that. This is like
just in case Stacy's listening.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it was players doing their thing in their rooms.
So wacky is not the word I would ever use to describe my next story. But being down in New Orleans last year when everything that was going on, on Bourbon Street, that was just a very strange thing because we were stuck in our hotel room and we're trying to watch TV to figure out what's going on. Are we allowed to leave? So that being around, because my wife went down with me, and so we basically spent the whole day in the hotel room just trying to figure out what was going on. And then we ended up walking to a Dave and Buster's in the opposite direction for dinner because we just got hungry. But I mean, I don't travel with the team, right? And I don't go on the road very often. So, there's that. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty cool at the Orange Bowl when, the guys started throwing the oranges out to everybody. That was pretty cool, but I don't know. I guess we're wacky people, but nothing wacky ever happened, Yeah. So
couldn't come
all I got
with anything better than that. I mean, I've got, bad travel stories and stuff like that. I don't know if anybody cares about that, but I don't know. If something pops into my head eventually.
You've been on the road with baseball, women's basketball, you're around the team, much closer than.
But again, it's it's very tame, you know, because it's a team situation. But that was the craziest, if I went into more details on things that were said to have happened behind those that would be a completely different story. But again, I don't want to name names.
It's all hearsay, Sean. It's not admissible in court.
That's right. So this one, if you could go back in time to any non-Notre Dame game, what would it be and why? It can be any sport, not just football.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You've opened it up to every sporting event of all time. Do you have something here off the top of your dome? Because I'm thinking.
I think I would go to Game 4 of the 2004 ALCS, Yankees, Red Sox.
Wow.
At Fenway. And I've got that 30 for 30 on that, the 4 days in October where the Red Sox, they were trailing the Yankees 3-0. They came from behind, and David Ortiz had the walk-off home run to win Game 4 after Kevin Millar. I was drawing a blank there. Kevin Millar walked in the 9th. They were down a run. Millar walks. Dave Roberts pinch runs for him. Roberts, of course, now the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, but Dave Roberts pinch ran for him, stole second base, and ultimately scored the tying run. This is all off Mariano Rivera, and so the game goes extra innings. Ortiz ends up winning it with a home run in extra innings. So that would probably be the one that I would go back.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I'm going to totally steal Corey Dean's idea here, and it was just what we were talking about a few minutes ago. That medal game between Russia and the United States.
Ooh, yeah.
1980.
We just talked about it.
I know.
That's obviously a very good one.
That's a really, really good, because I'm all consumed by the whole USA thing, and I don't even necessarily like hockey, but I would have been going bananas in that in that game, in that atmosphere, in that moment. Like, it's good versus evil. It's, all of those, like, let's do it. Like,
that's a good one. How did that one not come to my mind? But I'd still probably do the Fenway. So
that's fair. Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. I might do that. I wonder what tickets we're going for, because it was like so different. Like, that's one thing they didn't really talk about, like what tickets we're going for that game.
That's a great question.
I don't know. I don't even know that it was necessarily a hot ticket. I mean, it was obviously sold out, but there weren't many people who thought the U.S. even had a chance to win.
And it grew, like the popularity grew as time went on, as they were winning and things like that. They made that pretty clear. The other thing that's fascinating that a lot of people wouldn't even understand today is that they were pretty much completely sequestered from understanding how much people were in on what they were doing, and how much the country was all in on it. You know what I mean? Because obviously they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they were just doing their own thing.
Because that game was tape delayed. It took place in the middle of the afternoon, and then they put it on in prime time later that night. And because you didn't have internet and social media and everything else, like most people didn't know what the outcome was. I watched it as if it was happening live.
Sure.
It was tape delayed.
But the players had no idea what a sensation they had become, because it was just, they were in Lake Placid, New York, which, by the way, I had no idea Lake Placid was as small as it was.
It's very isolated.
Until I watched the documentary, to be honest with you. So, I mean, they were completely isolated from everything.
It's amazing that they could hold the Olympics in a place as small as Lake Placid is.
Seriously, because that's not the case anymore. Like that would not occur.
Yep.
So, I'm with you.
Kevin said Notre Dame, UCLA, the 88-game winning streak broken.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You go there. You could throw on a.
But I think wasn't the question non-Notre Dame related? Yeah, any non-Notre Dame.
Oh, related, so sorry, throwing that one out.
Yeah,
it's gone.
All right, before we take our one and only break this hour from Double R 2.0, do you think Alabama backs out of the future home and home with Notre Dame?
No, I don't think Alabama will back out. I think IU is going to back out. That's my answer. I don't think
holding to those guns.
I am holding to those guns because Alabama has given me no reason to think that they're going to dodge Notre Dame. IU has, based on what they've done and their scheduling and backing out of other games.
And again, the difference between the Big Ten and the SEC is the SEC requires its teams to play a 10th game against a Power 4 school. There
you go. Good call.
Game. Big Ten still does not require that.
Yep. So, good call.
So I would give this like 9 out of 10. I think it'll happen.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So I'd put 1 out of 10 that they would actually back out.
And this is going to sound very disrespectful towards IU, and I don't necessarily mean it that way. Alabama understands what it is to be a blue blood in college football, and so they're going to play another blue blood. Like, that's just what you do. I don't think IU realizes what that is yet. I just don't. They're new to the party. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that they really understand that mantle.
And they're also obviously looking for the easiest path to get them into the
correct. So, and it worked for them last year.
Which so look, a lot of people are going to be doing. USC is going down that path. But again, USC is in the Big Ten, and they don't have that rule about playing the extra Power 4 opponent. Now, you can still play a Power 4 opponent that doesn't have to be Notre Dame or Texas, whoever, like an elite type program. But Big Ten schools don't have that requirement right now, and they're obviously showing that they're willing to not care about that, because the more group of 6 and FCS teams you schedule, the greater chance you have of getting into the playoff. So we'll take our only break this hour, and then we'll come back with more mailbag questions with Vince DeDario, Sean Stires, Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We continue the Mailbag Show, Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. Sean Stires, Vince DeDario. We're answering listener questions, most of them about Notre Dame football, but some other topics as well mixed in today. And don't forget, the place to submit your questions is the YouTube chat, either the Irish Breakdown YouTube channel or the Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel. Notre Dame announced its combine guys today. 6 guys got invited. And in case you hadn't seen the list, Malachi Fields, Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, Eli Raridan, Billy Schrouth, and Emil Wagner are the 6 Notre Dame players who got invited. So Joe says 0 defensive players invited to the combine. Was it an off year for the defensive players, or did they just didn't have any that would go to the NFL? I mean, when you look at the one, they bring back so many guys. Like when you talk about the guys, they're pretty much all coming back because you lose guys like Tui Alamaka, Rubio, Heinisch, Jared Dawson, Devontae Smith. Like anybody else you can think of besides that? I mean, that's kind of the list in terms of
Jared Dawson. Did you say him?
Yeah, I said Dawson.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, look, Dawson's going to end up on a team someplace. Rubio's just a big body, so maybe he ends up on a team someplace. But it's not, and just because you go to the combine doesn't mean you're going to get drafted either. There is that. But I would say it's not necessarily a down year defensively. It's just, to your point, all the main players are back. Next year, you're going to see some guys in the combine from Notre Dame's defensive side of the football. No doubt about it.
Full of guys from the
correct.
Traore will be there. Bowen will be there.
Snead will probably be. I think he's got a good shot of being there. Tay Johnson, if he sticks around, that there's just a lot of options at that point. So
yes. Okay, so there was. Where did it go? Here we go. Salty says 6 Notre Dame players and accepted to the combine. Should more have been invited? If so, who was snubbed? I really don't think that there were.
Yeah.
Like Will Pauling didn't get an invite. He had a good year. I mean,
good, not great. What I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's a fair, like they kind of put a cap on it. I've actually got, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the rapid fire questions. Have you had a chance to look at
some, not all.
You don't have to look, but there's an interesting combine related question that's in there.
Okay. I did see that one. Yes. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yes.
We're going to have a talk about that one.
Yes.
For sure.
We will. Sean Kelly says he was at Fenway in 2013 when Shane Victorino hit the grand slam in the bottom of the 8th. Insane.
I bet it was.
Yeah. That was back when I think they were doing I remember that I remember, watching those, obviously. I think that Shane Victorino's walk-up song was the Bob Marley song, if I remember right. Don't worry about a thing because every little thing going to be all right. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. All right. Good times. Good memories. Jay Melvin. Vince, you're an older Notre Dame fan than I am.
Get it out. I don't.
How was it being a Notre Dame fan in the 2000s when USC was dominating the rivalry and on top? USC has never dominated Notre Dame in my lifetime as a fan, except in 22 and 16.
Well,
got at you. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. I get this question out of here. You called me old right off the bat. I don't know how I feel about that. Let me tell you something, Jay Melvin. I'm even older than that because I had a T-shirt back when I was growing up and it said on the back, it said a decade of dominance because Notre Dame won all the games in the late 80s to early 90s. They won 10 in a row, or I forget exactly what the number ended up being, but it was a decade of dominance and had every game and every score on the back. I used to wear that shirt all the time. So it went from Notre Dame dominating to USC being dominant for a small stretch. If you really look at it, it wasn't that long of a stretch, but it was the Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush, that time period. It sucked. How about that? It sucked. Made the 05 game obviously very, very good, and one game that I'll never forget, and that was 21 years ago at this point. So, I mean, it made for a good rivalry, but I enjoy when Notre Dame dominates that rivalry. So I did not enjoy watching USC win national championships and that kind of stuff. And
USC does not like to see Notre Dame dominate that
rivalry,
so they're not going to play it for a while. So, all right.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Bitten by the party animal. How will the Big Ten react to Notre Dame steamrolling 3 of their teams in the first 4 weeks?
Oh, so now we're talking about the actual schedule itself.
Wisconsin, Michigan State, Purdue are the 3 Big Ten.
Well,
of course.
I mean, Michigan State and Purdue are just not good. And neither is Wisconsin for that matter. So they're definitely picking on the bottom end of the Big Ten in this particular scenario, the bottom half. And so I don't think the Big Ten is going to do much of anything. If it was like Ohio State, Indiana, and Michigan, we'd be having a different conversation.
But I mean, it's probably the only chance Purdue's got for a sellout next year. I don't know if Indiana is playing in West Lafayette next year, but the fact that they've got Notre Dame coming in to Purdue, I mean, they've got a chance to sell tickets. So
absolutely. Is it at Purdue?
And it is. And they signed up for it. So
yeah, that's a good point. They're not going to duck it.
Yeah.
Unlike I bet some people, but we'll see what happens. I will bring that up until it's not necessary. How about that?
On the subject of the blue gold game, Sean Kelly says, I wish they would bring in another low level, more local team and do a scrimmage. I mean, this is something they've tried.
Yeah.
Like Deion Sanders was pitching this a couple of years ago. Would you be in on being able to scrimmage if you could do it?
100%. I actually think that would be a very good thing to do. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I think a lot of coaches would be in on that as well. It's just, a chance, because there is to a point when you're a coach, it doesn't matter really what the sport is, but especially in football, when you're just banging heads with the same guys over and over and over, it gets stale. It gets old, and when you go up against another team, it brings a little bit of life. High schools do it all the time. In the summer, they go to wherever and they do 11-on-11s and they do 7-on-7s. It's just competition. And I would be all for it. And I think a lot of coaches would be all for it as well.
I would think so. I think it would, do a lot. I don't know who it would be though. Like, would it be one of the MAC schools? Like you bring Western Michigan in or Central Michigan or something like that?
No, you could bring Indiana State. There's a lot of Midwest options, for Notre Dame, and it would be a pay for play. I get that. So I guarantee the MAC schools would be okay with it.
Would you play an actual game or would it be controlled scrimmage?
Controlled scrimmage is what I would do. Yeah, because look, if you play a full game, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's Indiana State and Notre Dame. Well, that's a mismatch, right? But if you have a controlled scrimmage, you can still get a lot out of that from both sides, both from the Indiana State side and the Notre Dame side. You can still get a lot out of that in a controlled environment. Whereas a game environment, it can get out of hand, the score can get out of hand, all those kinds of things, and then guys check out.
Yeah, well, and also guys from the smaller school have something to prove, and you kind of don't know where that can go,
right?
Like when you see some of the controlled scrimmage stuff in the NFL during training camps, you see some fights break out. Guys get a little bit feisty, So
Swan Dog says Hillsdale.
There you go.
That would be something for sure. Don't know that would really work out too well. It'd be funny to watch Notre Dame go up to Hillsdale though from that size stadium, but
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
36 years ago today, Buster Douglas defeats Mike Tyson. 36 years. My goodness,
man. That's just again, like anything like 1990s, doesn't seem like that long ago, Sean.
No, it doesn't.
Not at all. And we're just getting further and further away from it.
Salty was asking about opportunities for improvement for each of the new defensive assistant coaches. Jesse and I did a show yesterday, questions for the all the members of the staff. So I think that some of that might be kind of included in there. If you want to hear some more on that, you didn't hear yesterday's show. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you find it. Of course, archived on YouTube as well.
I'll just say overall, there's always room for improvement. You've got to be a lifelong learner, no matter what profession you're in. There's always room for improvement. And every one of these guys is coming to Notre Dame, and they are not going to have athletes like they had at their last stop.
That's true.
So, yeah.
How much do you think it'll set back players who don't participate in spring camp?
I mean, there's a learning curve, right? I mean, there's definitely a learning curve. I don't think it's substantial. I mean, we see guys all the time come in the summertime and just catch up and get to be where they need to be by fall camp. So, like,
Malachi Fields didn't practice in the spring last year.
There you go. Perfect example.
Benjamin Morrison, his freshman year, was not a spring early enrollee. He showed up on campus, and look what he turned into. So, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, especially for the veteran type guys.
Yeah, I could, it's going to be, can you learn the plays? Can you do this? And they're allowed to do so much stuff in the summertime, like getting on the same page as the quarterback and all of that is not going to be an issue.
Riley Leonard. Remember, he barely practiced in the spring.
Yep.
And maybe got off to a little bit of a slower start. Yeah, I think that's different with the quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Quarterback is a little, he says, I guess it's position dependent. I would agree with that as well. It is definitely position dependent for sure.
Which newcomer are you most excited to see in spring ball?
The two guys from Ohio State, but they're not both going to be there, right? So that obviously maybe makes that question not good. Or that answer, I should say, not the question.
Say the two defensive linemen.
Yeah, Brew Woo.
Yep, and Gray.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Because there's so many guys returning that, like,
I know.
I'm not really looking for the shiny new toy. I'm excited about the guys that have put in the work in the offseason and what they're going to look like, as opposed, because the shiny new toys are filling in the gaps. Like, that's how I feel about this particular transfer class. Like, they're filling in the gaps. Like the studs, the stars, they're already on campus doing their thing. So it's not like in the past, we've gotten a new quarterback, you've gotten like some real shiny toys. Like, that's just not the case this year. How about this? Just to stay on brand.
Okay.
Spencer Porath.
Oh, okay. Vince with the kickers.
There you go. I'm going to stay on brand.
Vince wants to chart those kickers.
That's right.
See where he's making the field goals from.
I'd like to see a bunch of practice kicks go through the uprights. We haven't really seen a whole lot of that in the spring and when we get to see practice, Sean.
That's true. We leave the spring going, man, they got some work to do.
Just saying.
Just feels like a very sore subject these days. Like, people are very upset about kicking.
They are. And normally I would push back, but they got good reason at the moment. So
no, they do. But it ultimately didn't cost him a game last year.
That is a very good point. It did not cost them a game. The kicking, actually,
like the actual kicking.
Yes. Right. Yeah. And I would also argue that Tyler Buckner did not cost them that game either.
No,
but that's a different conversation too. Yeah. They were winning when that happened. They were up by 6.
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, talk about the non-call,
right?
The line on 4th down, and the fact that the guy who caught the touchdown pass had, like one catch ever before that or whatever it was.
I know.
Just so many
things.
Given the limited time assistant coaches will remain on staff, would you prefer losing one every year or all at once in terms of the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator?
So is this question just coordinators, or are we talking assistant coaches?
That's what, when I read the first part of the question, it seemed like all coaches, but
right.
It seems like the way he finished, and he's still in here. So Salty, you can clarify. Are we just talking about the coordinators here? Is that what you're asking about? Would you rather lose both coordinators at once, or?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Assistants. Okay.
So he's just saying assistant coaches. So I would still say, like one a year. I mean, I wouldn't want to lose a bunch if you can help it.
Absolutely. You always want to have the least amount of turnover possible, like that, always. And If you're telling me would I prefer offense or defense, it depends on the position. But it's always one. I mean, it's always the least number that you can possibly lose. And look, losing the entire defensive staff this year, it's not great. I do feel like they went out and got the best guys that they could possibly have gotten. And you still have the defensive coordinator and the head coach who's defensive minded. So
right.
I'm not worried about the defense. I don't think there's going to be a drop off.
No, I don't either. And again, like best case scenario, you're keeping guys around, but at the same time, if you're keeping guys for too long, your program is probably stagnant. And it probably means you're not having, ultimately the biggest success that you could have.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, look at all the offensive coordinators that went through Alabama when Saban was there. A bunch of successful guys, and they went on to be successful head coaches. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. When you're really good, teams come pluck your guys away. Same thing in the NFL. If you're really good, you get plucked away, So I'd rather have that than lose all the time with the same staff.
For sure.
Yep.
When will you have a sense prior to the first game whether the new position coaches are succeeding individually and as an integrated defensive coaching unit?
This is a very interesting question because I am very interested to see how much practice we actually get to watch this year because there's not a quarterback competition like there was last year. Mm-hmm. We got very limited spring reps last year and very limited fall reps. And so to this question, Salty, if it's like it was this past season, I would say we're not going to have any clue. We're not going to have any clue prior to the first game because we don't get to see the coaches coach.
None of us thought that the defense was going to be as disastrous as it was going into last season.
Because we had nothing to base it on. Literally not. We saw some one-on-ones. We saw, routes versus air, that kind of it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell us anything. It is a piece of the puzzle for the coaches.
I mean, do you feel like, because last year was definitely even more limited.
Yes.
But it's been like the year before we got the jersey scrimmage. Last year we didn't get the jersey scrimmage again because you had a quarterback competition though going on. I mean, we'd all like to see that, but leading up to that, like during fall camp and even spring camp, even before last year, it was still pretty limited in terms of there were more times we could show up and watch the first half hour, like those first 5 periods of practice. But in terms of actual anything that even resembled live stuff, those are becoming more rare now here at Notre Dame.
No, it's true, and it stinks. It stinks out loud, but I see both sides of it. I do. I see both sides of it. I just wish there was more of a cooperation, because I can tell you right now that if we got more access, you're going to get a lot more positive press, from the local, beat. You just will, and you're not going to be grasping at straw because that's the other piece of it for me. You get too many people on the beat just grasping at straws from what we actually get to see and making these broad generalizations
out of the smallest things,
the littlest things. And that's just not healthy for anybody because then when maybe that doesn't come true or whatever the case may be, now you're an idiot. How could you possibly, it's just.
But people want to act like they've got some information that other people don't. And they're making mountains out of molehills more times than not.
Correct. And they're kind of forced because they need the clicks and they need the stories and they need to write something, they need content. We're not being given any content. So it's just it kind of stinks all around. I wish I could make more proclamations about what we're seeing. That's really hard watching them stretch.
Yeah. There's a trade-off. They just have to decide how much they care about it. And when I say they, I'm talking about the Notre Dame.
And they don't. And hey, that's one way to go,
It is one way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Beezer 12 washing beard. If Notre Dame wins it all, will the Freeman statue be up before the following season?
No, I don't think it'll be up before the following season, but it'll definitely be getting designed and be in the works, and they'll put it up when he retires. I don't see Notre Dame putting up a statue of a current coach. I don't like they waited.
Yeah, look how long they waited for Lou Holtz
and Lou Holtz,
all
Muffet.
the statues out there. Yeah,
like Muffet won her first national championship in 2001. That statue went up 2 years ago. So
something
I mean,
like maybe 3.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking like 25 years later. They finally decided to put. They waited for her to retire, and then they waited a couple more years. So
true.
And she won a couple of titles. So will he get one if he wins a title? Yes. I just don't think it'll be up until then.
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked to people on the development side about statues for this person or that person, and they've said if we want a statue, it's pretty easy to go out and raise the kind of money that you need for a statue. It's not all things considered when you compare it to other things, it's not that much. So if they wanted to put it up right away, they could, but like you, I don't think that they do it right away. I think it'll be a few years down the line.
Yep. But it'll come. I mean, as much as I love Lou Holtz, and love is an understatement as a coach, I loved him. He got one, and he got a stat. You know what I mean? He got a statue. So it'll happen.
Sean Stewart asks, how many more eyes are going to be on the offensive line this year now that Love and Price are off to the NFL?
I mean, I think it'll be the same amount of eyes on the offensive line because, that's always a point of emphasis when you're watching a Notre Dame team. I think people are underestimating the talent level of the running backs that are in the room, to be perfectly honest with you. But there are too many people that give the offensive line a complete pass because of how good Price and Love were. I get that. I think you're still going to see a very dominant run game for Notre Dame. So however you want to give out credit or give out blame, that's fine. But
Jesse and I have talked about this a couple of times. They also only gave up 12 sacks last year.
Right.
Like, think about that. With all the questions about, they're not going to have Riley Leonard to bail them out. They gave up fewer sacks with the pocket quarterback as opposed to the dual threat guy last year.
Because he's able to get rid of the football and throw to the open guy and all of those kinds of things.
I think the eyes are just going to be on the spots where there's a job open, just like always. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, depending on what kind of access we get, there's a very good chance that we really don't get to see a whole lot of guys competing for those spots. We're just going to see them, doing their one-on-one drills and stuff like that.
And I think you're going to see some guys cross-training, and so you're going to get a lot of prognostications by people like, oh, so-and-so is practicing here, and so that means they're there. And, 5 seconds after we walk out, they may move that kid back to a different position. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where I get frustrated with some of the things that people say. Oh, I saw this, and that means this. And no, probably not.
Doesn't work that way.
No.
All right, we're going to wrap up the first hour, the mailbag, predominant mailbag portion of the show. We've got rapid fire coming up in hour number 2. There's a question or two that we didn't get to, and we'll always be able to circle back. And if you still have a question that you want to pop in, we can circle back as well, because we've got plenty of time in hour number 2. It's a full 2 hours of the show tonight.
Of course it is.
Got Wake Up the Echoes coming up after this tonight. By the way, I'll save this for hour.
Okay.
I'll drop this on you. So we'll take a timeout. Rapid fire is on the way. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We are back, and it is hour 2 of the show. Rapid fire time with Vince DeDario. I'm Sean Stires. Plenty of things to talk about. Well, if I can stop pushing wrong buttons.
No, boy.
Here. Did you get a little cold in your basement there?
Dude, freezing. I was freezing cold. So I went and put sweatpants, a sweatshirt. Like it, I felt like the host of the Oscars. Like I had to go put a costume change. But I was freezing, Sean.
Well, I'm glad you're warmer now.
Whew, man. It's like
the sun is out for a second day in a row. I almost don't know what to do.
Seriously, I know. But the wind is still howling pretty good.
It is.
Just saying. Makes it kind of chilly.
Fill in the blank. It's blank that Notre Dame and Villanova are planning to open the college basketball season next November with a men's and women's basketball doubleheader in Rome.
Just the rich get richer, Sean Stires. The traveling that you get to do with the women's basketball team is excessive. Okay, it's excessive.
You're not going to hear me deny that. This is a true story.
This is me being completely jealous of you. I'm completely jealous that you get to do that. I mean, can you like rattle off the various places that you've been in the last like 3 years? The Bahamas.
I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to the Cayman Islands.
Yep.
Did Daytona, Florida. Now this is more than 3 years, and obviously Paris, France.
I was going to say that was kind of a big one.
Yeah.
That was last year, wasn't it?
2 years ago.
Was it really that long ago?
Yeah. It was the same weekend that Notre Dame lost at Clemson. That was the football game that was going on.
Okay. So every 2 years, they'd take an amazing trip, basically, or every 3 years.
They saved their pennies. Man. Didn't go anywhere this year.
That's true. So, that is true. You got no trip this year. You got to hang out in California.
I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying they didn't get like that November. Excuse me. That's November is when most of those trips when all those trips that I just rattled off.
That's true. Because like not preseason, but like early on in the season before conference play and all that kind of stuff. Look, all joking aside, because I'm still jealous, but all joking aside, I think it's awesome. I know the Pope is like a Villanova fan, apparently.
And this is kind of where it came from. And you've got 2 Catholic schools.
I think it's cool.
I
think it's cool. And I'm sure that they'll couple it with all kinds of awesome stuff to do out there in Italy. And, you know, it's going to be a trip that everybody on the team and everybody surrounded by the team is going to remember, and an opportunity to play a good basketball team. So, like, I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea, and I'm still insanely jealous.
And, I mean, think about it this way, because I see Tattoo in the chat saying, can we leave them both in Rome? Okay, I get it, or either one of them having the kind of seasons that you might have hoped this year. No, but it is February, and so like however many months that is, what is that, like 8 months, until next November rolls around. The transfer portal is going to be opening up here in a couple of months. Do you think a trip to Rome might be a nice little inducement for someone who's thinking about entering the transfer portal and joining your team next season?
Just saying, I don't know if there's a transfer portal for a color commentary guy, but I'm in.
That's right.
I'm jumping in, and I hope to get pulled out by the Notre Dame women's basketball program. You'll probably get big game Karen Keys to.
She didn't go to Paris a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Well,
I don't know.
The seat's open.
I know. But when I saw this report, and what's his name? Norlander from CBS Sports was the guy who broke this, and like that is it is pretty sweet to think about. Like not many programs I think could pull this off, and in a span of a couple of years, like the women's program specifically, is that trip to Paris to play South Carolina, and now a trip to Rome, because as you said, because the connection with the Pope and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very unique opportunity.
I think it's awesome. I really do. And I had something profound to say, and it just left out of my brain. But I still think that the whole situation is really, really cool. And I think you're going to have a blast. And hopefully Notre Dame gets 2 W's out of that. But the Notre Dame women's team is going to look a lot different next year than it does this year as well.
It is. Did you see the social media with now that they've got the class complete? They've got 2 McDonald's All-Americans. They've got a very highly touted group of freshmen coming in.
This is just a little bit of a gap year.
It's going to look a lot different.
Yep. And I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
I remember. So were you informed via social media, or did you know this was coming and just were really good at keeping a secret?
I was informed of this one on social media, like the Paris thing.
Okay.
I knew that was coming.
Right.
Well, like the previous, like probably around this time, the year before that happened, I knew this, that was coming. But this one, I was not up on.
Okay. I was just curious.
I did do a little, check, and
just to make sure it was
when
true.
It's time for the official announcement to come. The official announcement is going to come. You know how that works.
Yeah. So, yeah. Right.
Yeah. But what I was kind of teasing at the end of the first hour, like this whole Italy and unique opportunities. Have you noticed? I don't know how much you turn on the radio when Notre Dame men's basketball is playing, but Tony Simeone, the voice, of course, of men's basketball and football for Notre Dame, he's been gone the last few basketball games. I don't know if you've noticed that. He is in Italy, and he's doing some Olympics for NBC.
Okay.
Yeah. So talk about a fun little opportunity. We'll have to check in with him maybe when he gets back and see how that whole thing went.
That would be awesome. I bet he'd come on the show. We have a little chat about the Olympics and just really have some fun with it. I wonder what sports he's doing. Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. And I haven't tried, like a text or anything, because I don't know, like mobile plans and international plans.
I'm sure NBC's picking up the tab on that, but
probably has other things to worry about besides answering questions for me about.
You shoot him a message. It's only 12:15 in the morning over there. No big deal.
Yeah. It might be just winding down his broadcast.
Exactly.
Fill in the blank. The Notre Dame football player not named either CJ Carr or Leonard Moore, who is most likely to be an All-American in 2026, is blank.
So there's a bunch of different routes I feel like we could have gone, or I could have gone with this one. And like you could go defensive line, you could go offensive line. Like there's a lot of different avenues. I'm going to go a Don Schuler. I think he's got a great chance because he's got a name for himself at this point, which obviously helps. I think he'll have the stats to back it up. But it could be kind of an even trade between a Don Schuler and Tay Johnson, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna go with a Don Schuler because he's a little bit older, obviously, so he's got a little bit more under his belt and a little bit more of a name. But there's a lot of different ways you could go here.
I think especially on the defensive side of the ball, there are going to be candidates at all levels. Like I see some people in the chat saying Drake Bowen. I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying about Don Schuler. I agree with what people are saying about Tay Johnson. I think that all of those are distinct possibilities, depending on how healthy Kingston Viliamuasa is.
Sure.
He's a distinct possibility as well. I'm going to go with the defensive line and go with Boubacar Traore.
Yep, he's one that I had on the tip of my tongue. Yeah.
Yep. Honestly, for me, the first two that I thought of were Schuler and Traore. And since we took Schuler, I think Traore makes a lot of sense. Like had a chance to be drafted pretty high, I think, had he come out this year, and you expect him to be at full strength next year. And I think that we're going to see, I'm really curious to see, especially like what Charlie Partridge is able to bring out of Traore with like the need to get pass rush and get pressure from the front four specifically, because Chris Ash does not blitz nearly as much as Al Golden did. I think that Boubacar is going to have a chance to have a really big year. So I'm going to go with him.
Love it. He was I was between the same two guys actually, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, those are the two guys that came to my mind first.
I'll just go ahead and throw this one up from Joseph. Do you think Jeremiah Love is going to participate in all of the combine events?
No chance. I really do. I mean, he's projected to be a top 10 pick. Why would you?
Why risk it?
Why would you give anyone any reason to not draft you top 10? I mean, I think he'll go for the interviews. Maybe he throws up the 225 a few times or something like that. He'll get measured, but I really don't think he will.
Do you think he'll do any, of like the skill stuff, like the shuttle or the long jump or any of those kind of things?
Maybe, at Notre Dame's pro day. I just don't see him doing it at the combine. And that's a big maybe. I just don't think he needs to. I think his body of work is on film, and I think that's enough.
I agree. Like it just feels like, you have a bad day. All you're going to do is ding yourself. Why even bother with it?
Because can he improve his stock? I don't think he can.
He's projected as a top 10 pick right now.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the mock drafts have him going at number 8. I think it's number 8 to the Saints,
Yep.
So like, why bother?
Yeah. I just think all you can do is hurt yourself. I really do.
Yeah, see, like Sean is saying, maybe run the 40. That's the thing that I don't.
That's the last
zero benefit in that, because all you can do is hurt yourself if you have a bad day.
Correct. I think that's the last event that he would do, because he'll never run the time that he wants to run, and I just no.
Stymie says treat it like the Pop-Tarts Bowl, so just opt out, don't go all together, or
he'll go because he's going to knock interviews out of the park. Because he's a very personable guy, so he'll do interviews.
And he's shown that last week, just with all the interviews that he was doing out there on, Radio Row.
Yeah, and he'll get height and weight, and maybe like hand size if they do that for running backs.
You see that Sharpie jacket he was wearing, by the way?
It was wasn't it like almost like a letter jacket?
Yeah, it was like a letter jacket style, but it had Sharpie on it. Like, I don't know that I would want to walk around with a jacket that said Sharpie, but it was a pretty sharp looking jacket, honestly.
Depends on how much Sharpie wants to pay me to wear it. That's how that goes.
See, there you go. Did you see before the Super Bowl when they had the old Super Bowl MVPs and those jackets that they had?
Those were slick.
Those were awesome, man.
Those were slick. I want one of those. I'll never be an NFL MVP, but those were slick.
And a lot of them, like when they were walking out, because they had the white sleeves, you could see that, like, they had guys signing autographs on the sleeves.
Ruined it.
I don't know, man. Like, you got Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Emmitt Smith's autographs on Peyton Manning on those things.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Make a lot of money if you put that sucker out for auction.
I've never been a fan at the field day at school where like the kids like sign the shirts and stuff like that, and like now you got a shirt with a bunch of signatures on it. But those are legit signatures, so you might turn me a little bit, but those are pretty slick jackets all by themselves. Like, have a notebook. They can sign my notebook. Don't sign my jacket.
Josh wants to know, does Price do any combine?
Yes, I think Price does. I do, because I think he wants to get out of the shadow a little bit, I think, of Jeremiah Love. And I don't have any inside knowledge of that, but I feel like that's what he would want to do, and so I could see him laying down some numbers.
I would agree. He has a lot more to gain by, like, he could push himself to high first round if he has a good combine. Whereas, so he has a lot more to gain by doing all of his testing, where, again, Jeremiah Love's already projected as a top 10 pick. So, like, he has more to lose by doing it. Let me see. Zarkin in the chat. If Notre Dame does win it all, will that achievement shut the mouths of genius intellectuals like Cam Newton for more than a half a second, or will they still continue crying about conferences? Look, Cam Newton just has no business talking about college football.
Nope.
I think he proved that with, his display a few weeks back. Like, Cam Newton just needs to stick with the NFL. He has no business talking about college football. End of story.
Yeah, it's not going to shut anybody up. I mean, there'll be people that give Notre Dame their flowers and things like that, but there will still be people saying, well, they had an easy road. They should have been in a conference. They didn't have to play a conference championship, so they were more rested. Whatever mantra that they want to jump on, they will still. But, I mean, you'll have more people saying good things about Notre Dame, but you're still going to have the detractors.
Right.
And the further
most of it'll be about handpicked schedule. It wasn't, and even though when you sit back, if it happens, and you compare the schedule that Notre Dame is going to play this year to the schedule that Indiana just played this past year, they're not going to be that different.
Correct.
But
nobody will say that
in the Big Ten. Right.
Nobody will say that unless you're tuning into Irish Breakdown or this show. Like, nobody's going to say that. So you'll still hear it because there's people that just hate Notre Dame, and that's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, they just happen to have a microphone in front of them, and there's so many more microphones available these days.
Indiana is just too nice a story for everybody, so there's going to be zero criticism.
Correct.
Like, there won't be any criticism of Cignetti until year whatever, if he's able to keep that kind of success going. So
people get vilified if they talk negatively about this, the IU story, and they're the underdog and they were all of this and all of that, and you get vilified if you speak against them. I felt it, and I'm sure other people have as well, and I get it. I understand where that comes from, but like this is not your big brother's IU either. Like it's a completely different scenario. So, hey, look, congratulations to them. They got the title.
Cam Newton, wear your hats.
Oh my gosh.
But the talky stuff, not so much.
That is.
Let's take our only break this hour, and then we'll be back. We'll continue with some rapid fire on Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We continue with Rapid Fire on Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. The Wake Up the Echo show coming up here. 7 o'clock here on Sports Radio WSBT.
What does that entail?
That is the Notre Dame. It's like, they used to have a coach's show.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of all sports.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And I believe the softball and baseball teams are interview guests on the show. Yeah.
Hey, freshman Ava Zachary from Penn High School hit a 3-run home run the other day.
I saw that.
Crushed that thing, man. That was fun to watch.
Big time.
She is so good. She is so talented and a great kid.
Very good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Joseph in the YouTube chat says, what about the women's basketball incoming 2026 recruiting class? Yeah, what about it? It's very good.
Yeah, break it down. Let's go.
I got out the list so I didn't leave anybody out. They have 4 of the 5. They have 5 players in total in the class. JC Abe is at the top, 5-star, rated 12th in the nation, the 12th rated player in the nation. They have the top 4 players in the class are all in the top 24. Jenica Lewis, Amari Biles, Bella Ragone, and then Isabella Senga as well is rated 78. So that's a chock full of talent class that they've got coming in. And Lewis and Abe are both McDonald's All-Americans as well. So there was a time a couple years ago where basically all but Olivia Miles and Cass Prosper on Notre Dame's roster were McDonald's All-Americans in a high school. And the only reason those 2 weren't is because Prosper was Canadian, so she didn't qualify to be a McDonald's All-American. And Miles, you might remember, was an early enrollee in the middle of the season, so she didn't finish her season, so she didn't qualify to be a McDonald's All-American. But so they've restocked the cupboard. It's going to be a very talented class coming in next year.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm looking at the rankings, and there's it's fun to watch, see all the Notre Dame in the top 35. That's good stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. So look forward to that. Okay, North Dakota State, Vince, is going to move from the FCS up to the FBS level. They're going to join the Mountain West Conference this upcoming season, and they're going to pay $12 million to join that conference, as well as a $5 million entry fee to the NCAA to move from FCS to FBS. Do you buy or sell this move up a level for North Dakota State?
I buy it. I think that they're ready for this move. I think that the Mountain West is going to be a good level for them to be in right off the bat. I think that they're a very, very good program, and there's a lot of money swimming around that program. And I think they outgrew kind of where they were at the FCS level. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I do. Usually there's kind of like a step up program, and they're just all in 1 year, man.
Well, now they can't. A couple of things. They're not going to be able to fully access college football playoff revenue until 2032. So even if they, were to make it in, they're also not going to be eligible for the conference championship game or postseason play for basically they've got to wait 3 years for their third year, 2028, to get there. So
that stinks.
I
think they're going to be competitive.
Period.
I think they're going to be competitive in the Mountain West. So we'll see.
Well, in the Mountain West, because most of the current Mountain West teams are becoming the Pac-12.
Correct.
So here's what the Mountain West is going to be. Northern Illinois, they're actually joining up. UTEP, Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Jose State, UNLV, Wyoming. So they should be able to be very
That's what I'm saying.
Competitive.
Yep.
The first thing I thought was like, would you, it's like big fish, small pond, small fish, big pond kind of thing. Like they're trading the chance to continue to win national championships at the FCS level for basically the opportunity to get to the college football playoff at the FBS level, because it's not like you're ever going to win national championships again. You're also basically saying goodbye to all your rivals, like there's going to be more budget involved in traveling and everything else. And the fact that now, like, it's a big step up in terms of, I don't know what their donor base is like, but you're going to have to come up with a lot more money to field competitive rosters, with NIL and rev share and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really curious to see, like, are they going to be able to sustain things from that level? Because now it's not just going to be, because like the selling point with where they've been is like, okay, you're a borderline, maybe you're a MAC play, like that group of 6 type level player. Why don't you come here instead and you have a chance to win a national championship? The sell is going to be a lot different, literally, from a lot of different levels for North Dakota State making this move. So I'm somewhat in on it, but like if I was going scale of 10, just how much I'm in, I'm like, maybe like it's 50-50 to me. I'm going to be really curious to see just how well they're going to do. And like, are they really going to be satisfied just with the opportunity? Basically, the best they're ever going to do is get into the playoff. Maybe you pull off an upset in the first round game. They're never going to hang a national championship banner again by making this move.
That's true. Yeah, that one is 100% true. And it's going to be interesting. Are they going to stay in the stadium that they're in currently, the indoor, the Fargo Dome or whatever it's called? First of all, it's a heck of a home field advantage, obviously. But do you know off the top of your head, because I did not know, how many fans you can get in there?
I have no clue.
It's not many. 18,700.
Wow.
That's really small.
That's
so
very small.
Like that.
I had no idea it was that small.
Yeah. So they probably sell out.
Are you going to have to build a new stadium? Like, are you going to I think that's going to get to come in there.
That's a legitimate concern. Look, they obviously had $17 million laying around just to get in the first place. So that tells me they've got plenty of money at the moment. But that's just, you're not going to be making a lot of revenue from selling tickets.
The one thing I did find out, like when you talk about money, my first thought was, okay, like how much money is in it for an FCS champion? Because they're obviously going they're in the FCS playoffs every year and they won a lot of national championships. They've sent a lot of their best coaches to the FBS ranks already. It's basically, from what I've been able to find out, break even at best.
Yeah.
Even for winning national championships at that level, there's just not that much money.
Yeah.
That is available. So they'll have a chance to earn more because, again, like this Mountain West, your TV contract is not going to be that great. Should you be able to be competitive against that schedule? Yeah. But again, I wonder if you start losing out on some recruits now because you don't have sort of that niche anymore.
It's possible. Look, the Dakotas, I would assume if I looked at their roster, and I haven't done that yet, I would assume they've got a lot of Dakota kids, on the roster and things like that. So, they're still going to have inroads there. Obviously, somebody said, they're going to lose their biggest rival in South Dakota State.
Right.
No, because you could still play them.
Well, you can.
And they probably will.
But you're probably going to have to pay them now as opposed to.
That's a good call.
That's
a good call.
Because now you're the one that's up a level that probably becomes a buy game for them.
That's there. You know what? That's a very interesting conversation there because I don't know what their schedule looked like before. Were they getting their buy game from somebody else? Do you drop this rivalry? They can still play it if they really want to.
Right. And now they become they can still, because they were a buy game before, they can still be a buy because I don't know. It's an interesting move. Again, I think that they can be competitive at that level. I think that they're aspiring to kind of become the next Boise State.
Right.
But I still think that you're probably several years from that. Because like I said, I think the best case scenario for these guys is you get into the college football. I'm sure that they think, because James Madison just made a move from the FCS a few years ago as well. And I'm sure they're thinking, well, we can be the next James Madison. Make this move up to FCS. Let's not forget, though, that James Madison is a little bit of an outlier just because of the fact that they got in on a technicality this year, because they were the second
That's true
group of 5 team to get in behind Tulane.
They're just lucky the ACC was terrible.
They got in. Yeah, they got in because they got in on a loophole, basically.
Right? Which will never happen again, by the way, because
they've changed the rules.
Changed the rules. Yeah,
exactly.
Because nobody wants to see that again.
Price asked, "Does the number of students in the school change?"
That's an interesting question. Because right now they're a little bit bigger than Notre Dame. They've got like 9,000 undergrad and like 2,000, graduate students. So it's a little bit bigger than Notre Dame, not much. So similar in size. If I'm a senior in high school, am I going to go as a student to North Dakota State because they're playing in the Mountain West? I just don't see that.
I doubt it.
I just don't.
The party would have been more fun the last few years because they're
winning titles,
competing for national championships.
Correct.
I'll just go here instead of going over to Minnesota,
Minnesota.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just don't that's a pretty healthy move if you're going to the Dakotas to go to college. Like if you were thinking about whatever college you were thinking of, and then all of a sudden, you know what?
It's
North Dakota State.
Let's be honest; those are big squares out there. That there's a lot of reason from here to there.
For a reason, yeah,
exactly right. That's I don't think that too many people on the East Coast are like, you know what? North Dakota State, man, they're in the FB. They're playing UTEP now. I want to go be a part of that. So,
yeah, maybe they could steal some kids from South Dakota State. Maybe that is what they're looking for. So
I think so. So they are moving up to FBS now. Would you want to see Notre Dame schedule North Dakota State now that they're making this move?
Look, it will not in a quadrillion years ever happen, but I would love for Notre Dame to play in the Fargo Dome and be there when that happens. I think that would be freaking great.
Could you imagine?
Those tickets would be like thousands of dollars.
I mean, I didn't realize how small that is. That is like the size of Allen Fieldhouse, basically.
Right. It's like playing football in a basketball arena.
Right. I think the Dean Dome might have more seats than what they're going to have.
I mean, it's small. Okay. I mean, I'm sure.
I don't know what they're hoping,
right.
In terms of interest, but it feels like at some point, if this is nearly as successful as they think it's going to be, they're going to have to build a new stadium. You're going to have to build something that's at least 30,000, 35.
At least. I mean, you got to double the occupancy and, just to make money. I mean,
exactly.
Money on tickets and that kind of thing. So, and then, you got the suites and things of that nature. They're going to have to build a new stadium and it's probably going to have to be a dome stadium because of where they're located, So, right. Yeah, that'll be interesting if they've got that in the works.
Yeah. I personally would have no desire to see Notre Dame and North Dakota State play.
I get it. I understand. I get it.
There are enough others.
Yeah.
Notre Dame got zero credit for playing Boise State this year,
which is
in a year when
crazy.
Boise State was a year removed from playing in the college football playoff. Notre Dame got zero credit,
and they will get no credit for playing any MAC schools. They'll get no credit for playing any. Well, they don't get credit for playing Power 4 teams, but no, it would not help them in any way. I have no desire to go, down the street to Notre Dame Stadium to watch them play North Dakota State.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Notre Dame's never going to Fargo.
No, gosh, no. Yeah. As I said, it will never happen.
Yeah.
But what a cool environment it would have been if it did. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I received an email from the NFL today. I get these different promotional emails
because you're special, dude.
I bought, stuff. I think that's why I get them.
That makes sense.
But the NFL is selling field level access packages to the NFL Draft Combine in Indianapolis. Before I tell you how much they want for these packages, here's what you get in one of these field level packages. This is a 1 day. They have a 1 day package. They have a 3 day.
Okay.
Package.
Okay. I'm just going to sit back and just let you.
Okay. Now I'm not going to read this whole thing because there's a lot to it, but
there is.
Okay. You get field level suite and on field viewing. So it comes with basically a private suite where you get to, sit there and do things in the suite, including beer, wine, food, provided in the suite, basically just like if you got a suite for an actual game. There is player tunnel entrance. You get to witness the players as they enter Lucas Oil Stadium prior to going through the days of, this is directly from the release, rigorous activities. But you get to watch them up close and personal as they come out the tunnel before the excitement starts. You get in-suite analyst insight during the combine drills. So like you get your own version of Vince DeDario giving you exclusive insight from a combine analyst in-suite during your specific drills throughout the day. In between drills, you enjoy an intimate Q&A about those events. I wonder who the combine analysts are.
Yeah.
I would want to know that.
And you can you imagine that pitch from the NFL to an analyst? Like, all right, man, hey, we want you to come and be an analyst for the combine. And you're, as an analyst, you're thinking to yourself, God, that sounds horrible. Yeah. No, then they're like, but you're just going to be piped into the suites. We're not going to have you on NFL Network. We're not going to have you do it. You're just going to be into the suites. Are you in?
Now, people are excited about this so far. John says that's awesome.
Okay.
Tattoo says Ryan Roberts is the analyst. Too.
Squirrel.
I haven't told you the price of all this yet.
No, you
haven't.
I know
that it sounds pretty cool. Just listing these things. You get the Combine Drill Challenge. You get access to complete your own combine drills on the field to see how you stack up to a future NFL athlete. You participate in drills like the 3-cone, the 40, the vertical. Activation will occur post-event during times when athletes are not performing drills on the field. So just, so
can you imagine that they just
no confusion? You're not on the field when the actual guys who are going to be in the NFL are on the field.
They just insert Sean Stires like in the middle of the running backs running the 40 or something like that.
Hey, Jeremiah, step aside. This fat guy wants to come run.
That I would pay for.
Yeah.
That's what I need to have.
And I was talking about myself, just so in case anyone was. You get a private tour of Lucas Oil Stadium. Okay. So that, and then you also get an official NFL Combine souvenir gifting.
It's like a pen
from your time at the NFL Combine. So again, all those things sound pretty cool, right? This is a one-day suite level experience, field level at the NFL Draft Combine. All of that goes for starts at $995 per person.
Per day.
Per day.
Per person per day.
So you get all that $995 per person per day for all of that access.
Sean?
So my question to you, Vince DeDario.
Yes.
Is there a world where there is value in that package for even half of that price?
For some people, I would imagine that it would be at half the price. I'm sure there's people with a lot more expendable income, even at the full price, that is something that they would look to do, right? If you're asking me, not a chance.
I realize I'm asking the wrong person.
Correct. Well, and here's the thing: money aside.
Yeah. So, like, if money is not an issue,
right?
1 to 10, rate that package.
1 to 10. If you're saying it's not going to cost me anything, I would put it at like a 4.5 to 5. To me, the combine is boring
because let's remember, you're ultimately there watching guys in tights,
correct?
Run 40s and catch passes, and
it's boring.
Vertical. Yeah,
I am not like Ryan Roberts, who gets excited about combine numbers and watching. That's just not who I am. Because look, you and I live within driving distance of Indianapolis, where this takes place. You know how easy it is to get a media credential to go down there. We could have done it
I've thought about it before, but it's like, do I really want to go through all that just to go down there and watch that? And
exactly
maybe get a couple interviews.
If you have to have that conversation in your own brain, like, do I really want to go down? Like,
yeah,
then no. Like, look, would it be fun to have a suite with all you can eat and all you can drink, like with your buddies? Cool. I don't even care what's going on the field.
$1,000.
No.
$1,000 per person per day.
That's crazy. And that doesn't count like lodging or, transportation. No.
I thought when I saw this and I saw it like the bullet points, I thought maybe $500, $1,000.
That's
crazy.
Day. Crazy.
There's no
I wouldn't even spend that. I wouldn't even spend half that if my son was participating in the combine.
Right. Now, if someone, again, we're rating the experience. If someone, like you said, we could get a credential potentially. Yeah. Now, we're not going to get all the food and drink and all that kind of stuff. If someone gave me a ticket to go do this, I'd probably do it once.
Sure.
Check it out.
Oh, and if like you were going down, like the two of us go down, like, okay, cool. Like that would be fun.
Right.
I'm down with that. I wouldn't want to do it 3 days in a row.
No.
Like, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like getting 3 days in a row of the first 5 periods of Notre Dame practice. Yeah. Like,
I got this email and I was like, oh, what is this?
Look,
level access to the combine.
You get to watch players walk into the stadium through the tunnel. Okay.
That's a selling point. That's a selling point on this bullet point.
I don't get that at all. They're not running out onto the field like it's a game. Right. They're just walking into the stadium.
Right. I don't know, man. 900 starting at $9.95.
NFL, you go ahead and get yours. Like, give it a shot because they've never had, I guess, fans there before. So
the website says the Ryan Roberts suite is half off. They might be giving that away. Mr. John says John is all in on this.
He is all in. It's available, John.
I know.
Driving
$9.95, you can have it.
Yeah, it's all you, brother.
It didn't say. I wonder how many people you can actually get into that thing. I'm going to have to keep my eyes out when I'm watching some of the combine and see how many people are sitting there field level. And
are they going to televise like the randos running the drills and stuff?
I know.
Because that's what I want. That's comedy. Like, I want to watch that. That'd be great. But if you're talking about, let's say you fit, 15 people in a suite, 10 people in a suite?
You would think.
$10,000 to $15,000 to watch the combine?
Right.
That's craziness.
Yep. Nolan says, I want the Brady Quinn suite. See, now, like, to me, who's in the suite with you? This, analyst, that would go a long way.
I don't think that they're actually going to have a person. I feel like it's going to be piped in audio.
Just that's giving you like some kind of AI intel about whatever's going on.
Like that's the way I understood it as I was reading through it. It's like you're just going to get special like piped in audio. You're not going to have like Brady Quinn hanging out with you.
Let me see. In-suite analyst insight during combine drills. Here's exactly what it says. Exclusive insight from a combine analyst in suite with your specific drills throughout the day. In between drills, enjoy an intimate Q&A about the events of the day.
Okay, the Q&A part makes me maybe think that they're actually going to be there. I don't know. Like, you want me to be an analyst? I'll come down and be an analyst and hang with some people and drink and eat for free. Like, that'd be fun.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Why not?
He was fast. Did you see that? He was really Did you see the hands on that guy? That's my hand and that's my analysis.
By the way, Salty wants to know if we have ever heard of a Dabo other than Dabo Sweeney.
Negatory.
I have not.
I've also not heard of a Sweeney spelled Swiney. So.
I have not. Is that actually his real name or is that kind of a nickname?
It's got to be a nickname, right?
Let's see.
Are we going to look that up? Do you think the internet has all the info?
Let's see. William Christopher Dabo Sweeney.
There we go.
So William Christopher. So somehow they came up with Dabo.
William Christopher is a very common name, so it probably just made some. I'm sure there's a story behind it, but that makes sense.
All right, we're going to wind it down with that. Appreciate all the questions and feedback on this mailbag day. Good stuff as always with Vince. Jesse and I will be back tomorrow. We'll have a full boat of shows this week.
Woo!
3-man rotation on Friday. I thought I was not going to be here, but I will.
Oh, you're in
after all. So yes.
Yes.
Doing a little 3-man. Vince is just happy because he doesn't have to come up with rapid fire.
Oh,
Talk to you tomorrow. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com.